Hi friends, my name is Emily and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 4 books. These are some of my favorite books and we are going to judge the covers. So this is not judging a book by its cover. So like you make assumptions about it based on the cover but you haven't read it yet. No, this is far less marketable and bad for the SEO. This is my favorite books that I'm going to tell you about, and I'm also going to tell you about why I think they got fucked in their cover design. If that sounds good, stay around. I don't normally sound like this. It's like peak pine pollen season and I am fucking dying. Stephen King, he's one of my favorite authors. He is not without flaw. I spend a lot of time talking about him on this channel in a critical way. I have an academic background in gender studies and English lit, and I have devoted more time than I care to account for. Both publicly and privately with patrons talking about this man and his works. There are some phenomenal pieces of fiction in his body of literature. There are also some real duds, just depending on your taste. These are my 4 favorites. The first one we have here is Different Seasons by Stephen King. So this is, I think, one of the most like iconic, well-known collections of Stephen King. So there are 4 novellas here, and this contains some of, I think, like the biggest bangers that Stephen King is known for. We have Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption, we have Apt Pupil, and we have The Body. Breathing Method? At least 2 of these have like iconic films. They're like staple films. They've transferred mediums and they have made it because they are just such fantastic, gripping stories. What the fuck is this cover? Out of the, I think, 2 most iconic stories in this collection, what is this? We have like a baby, a fuzzy baby in shadow, floating in space. Granted, it has been like 8 years since I've read this, but I can't figure out why the baby with the full moon would be the thing, would be like the calling image. Let's look and see if there are any printings of this book with like slightly better covers. Okay, so when we look at other covers of this book, we have the train tracks. The boys in the body are walking along the train tracks. That makes sense. I love that. We have the bars of the prison with ticks. I love that. We have 4 breakdowns of seasons. So like there's 4 icons. It's hard to tell what. I see a sun and a moon and something that looks like a turkey and the wind. It's probably not a turkey. Maybe a flower? A dead flower, but it also kind of looks like a turkey. This is a blurry image. You have seasonality in some of these book covers, right? Boys walking, the train. There are so many covers of this book that make so much more sense. Why? Who did this? Somebody in the comments is gonna go, well, actually, the baby and the full moon makes sense. Thank you. If you feel like well actuallying me, I guess you're free to do that. That's what the comment section is for. The second book I have here, The Shining, is a personal favorite. In rereading it, I think it is not the best written. I think it could be a little bit shorter. Is it arrogant to say that I'm like, I think it could be edited down a little bit. I think it could be trimmed of a little bit of fat. This is like a foundational book in my life as a human, as a reader. It's like the reason that my partner and I are together. So like there's a lot tied up in this for me personally. I still love the story. I love the idea of a family going and staying in a hotel, an isolated location, like the idea of hotels being public spaces that look like homes, and like how weird that is, and like that the hotel, like it's not a home but it's pretending to be, right? And like I think it's still a fun read. This cover. Okay, so this obviously is a certain place in time in which every once in a while chopped up people goes in and out of fashion in publishing. Here we are clearly in a period of dissected people on covers. So we have what looks like a nude child glaring at us. Which fair, because Danny, you know, he's kind of a little bit creepy. But the hotel is barely visible, And there's no mountains. Like, you really don't get the sense that they are like super isolated, super stuck. Like, there's nothing really claustrophobic or like isolating, I guess, about this. And also it's yellow, and like, unpopular opinion, but I don't love a yellow book. Especially because the Overlook Hotel is so important. So much could be done to communicate that sense of like a looming hotel that isn't done here. Like, to be honest, I didn't even notice that the hotel was on the cover until literally just now, making this video, being like, what's that blocky thing in the background? It's like blurry and pixelated. So now I'm gonna look up some other covers for The Shining. So newer printings of the book show the door with red rum on it. I mean, the one is very dated, but the hotel is very present on it, and Danny looks fucked. So, you know, creepy kid. This is more what I'm talking about. This edition with like the hotel really looming and centered. You still have a little person, you know the person's gonna be there, but the hotel really takes up space on the cover. This just feels lazy. This feels like they knew that it was gonna sell because it has Stephen King's name on it. Another one of my favorite things by Stephen King is the Dark Tower series. I am picking one book to stand in for the whole series. I love that series. I think that it is so clever. I think the themes in it are fascinating. It's fantastic and it's fun. It's just a fun time too, on top of all of that. Unpopular opinion, apparently. I love these covers. I love that all 8 books are like 2 paintings that connect, so that the covers all bleed one into the next. And considering how much this story is about, like, I think the flow of things and the connectedness of things, I love that the covers were one image that are sliced. I don't know, I love the colors. I love the sort of whimsy of it. I love that they put the fucking numbers on the book. So my biggest pet peeve are series that don't number themselves. This is fantastic cover design. They put the number on the book for you. Jesus fucking Christ, is that revolutionary? There's just so many things about the design of this book that I love. As like physical objects, I think they are beautiful. It's maybe one or 2 levels above graphic design is my passion, but I feel like it works. I like it that it's kind of tacky. It's a different sort of like weird tackiness than this. Like, this is like, what are we doing? This is like, oh, we tried to do something. And I like it. I also like these colors. I love it. Thank you for your opinion. He doesn't like it. So yeah, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I really like this series of covers, and I think it makes them like very appealing to pick up. And I think that overall, even if you don't like them, I think the idea of having 2 complete pieces that fit the sort of like 2 arcs of the series chopped up so that each, like, you can spread them out and you can see them and see how they connect and flow into each other. I think that is thought out cover design. So there have been some different iterations of the covers. There are a couple of like very stylized covers that get very dark. These scream 2000s to me. Maybe because I am a child, like I was a young person in the 2000s. They scream 2000s, but I don't hate them. I don't know that you would sell them now. Like, they look tacky and cheap now, but I don't hate them. I like the 3 doors in the next one just sort of standing loose. I like the train with the skull on it. Like, I like that icons from the series were chosen. Different additions to varying effectiveness, I would say. Okay, so the last book I have here is It by Stephen King. These are the editions that were out. This format of book cover was what was out when I first sort of got into Stephen King. So I have quite a few books in this style. I love It. King is a fantastic character writer. I like his child characters. I like the friendship in this story. It's the same thing that's sort of appealing about The Body, like the young kids going on an adventure, getting into trouble, doing something a little bit creepy, like, hi, wow, yes, right? Like, I really like King's novels like that involve like groups of kids and friendship. Yes, thank you, thank you. I think Pennywise is such a fascinating antagonist, such a fascinating villain. And this is one of the few Stephen King books that has actually creeped me out. I have very vivid memories of reading it home alone one summer in a student house in London, and like staying up way into the night, and like the sounds of hearing like a house expand and like creak in the heat, you know, like air and water moving through the pipes. Like, all of that is very real. It's very possible. And so I remember like genuinely freaking myself out reading this book. I don't really know if we need the clown on the cover. I feel like just like the editing and the styling of this with like the boat going in the water. Again, we're in that phase in publishing where like chopped up people parts on book covers is a thing. You know how sometimes not seeing in a horror movie is more effective? Like, you being allowed to fill in something truly fucked up is more effective. I almost feel that way about this cover. They've given us something to picture, and I don't want that. I like the sewer, I like the ominous cover, I like the boat. I feel like that's quite iconic. Let's take a look at some of the other book covers, see if any of them did it better. Okay, so a lot of them really draw on this iconography of the sewer and the boat. This one has like claws coming up through the sewer. Again, I don't know that we need to see the claws. Then we have the movie tie-in covers with Bill Skarsgård. Do I like that? No, I don't like that. I don't like that we can see the clown, that we've been given something to picture. Like, I think part of like the real fear for me was not having a set thing to look at. I kind of like the stylized clown of the non-movie tie-in of just like the red nose and the mouth with the unsettling teeth. This I like better. I like this cover. Again, this is a more recent movie tie-in cover where you have the kid in the raincoat from behind, a hand sort of reaching out with a balloon, but we don't see what's behind the balloon. I think that is more effective. There's like a threat of danger, but we don't get to see it. See, this I think is more effective. Right? There's one here with like the balloon hanging out of the sewer. You can see like the boat going in the sewer, and there are just eyes in the sewer. We see eyes peering out of the sewer. I like that. I like that we have all of these important things represented on the cover, but we don't know what's in there. We just have its eyes and it's looking out at us. I love it. I think that is fantastic. Do I think that my cover here is one of the worst ones? No, it's not the worst, but I don't think it's the most effective or like using cover design to its best advantage, if that makes sense. Those are 4 of my favorite Stephen King books. That is me being petty about their covers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Have you read any of these? Do you have a favorite cover? That's the other thing. Stephen King has been around for decades, and there have been so many reprintings of his works. And sometimes love for a cover comes down to nostalgia, right? Some of my favorite books have fucking, like, objectively covers that are bad. Like, you couldn't put this into the children's publishing market today and expect it to compete. It's not gonna work. It's of its time, right? But I love it because it's a part of my childhood, right? If one of these Stephen King book covers is part of your childhood, I could totally see being attached to something that I find just kind of gross or like not the most effective, but like, do you know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. Thank you to my patrons who make videos like this possible. This year I'm hosting 2 book clubs, the Red Rum Book Club, which is a patron exclusive Stephen King book club where we are reading through Stephen King's books in publication order, and a small book club. Editing Emily here. So with when this video actually came out, the small book club book is actually Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. This is an odd little story, again, building on what we've talked about with folklore in Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford. Live stream for that I will link either above or below. This is looking at forest. We have fae, and it is a gay romance? Question mark? The live stream for this is at the end of August. It is on Wednesday, August 31st at 7:30 p.m. And the small book club is free for everybody. So if you want to join in, read along with this, and chat with me, keep an eye out on the community tab or on Instagram for check-ins about this book. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you are doing well, that you are staying safe, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye.